So a couple days ago, JD Vance dropped an absolute bomb on Canada's political elite, all with this one graph right here. Now, the media reaction was instantaneous, calling him a xenophobe, a racist, or the US vice president doesn't even know basic economics. But here's the reality. I went to go check the facts, and here's the scoop. My name is Eli Daniel, and this is the Right Call podcast. So here's the post that sparked the entire debate. This was posted by a Michael Avouret, and he says, "What happened in Canada will be studied by many historians and economists as the prime example of self-destruction of an otherwise prosperous nation after blindly following left ideology." And effectively, it's a graph that demonstrates the real GDP per capita growth in Canada, Britain, and the US over the last decade. Now, this prompted the vice president to say the following. "While I'm sure the causes are complicated, no nation has leaned more into diversity as our strength. We don't need a melting pot. We have a salad bowl. Immigration and sanity more than Canada. It has the highest foreign-born share of the population in the entire G7, and its living standards have stagnated." He followed on with, "And with all due respect to my Canadian friends, whose politics focus obsessively on the United States, your stagnating living standards have nothing to do with Donald Trump or whatever boogeyman the CBC tells you to blame. The fault lies with your leadership, elected by you." Whew. Now, I know that the average Canadian has this inner superiority complex right now tingling, but let's examine the facts, because data doesn't have feelings. Real GDP per capita. It's the single best snapshot we have about whether a person in a country is actually getting richer year after year. Now, from 2014 to 2024, Canada is at 1.1. Not per year, 1.1 for the entire decade. Now, to give you context, the OECD average over the last 10 years was 14.8%. The EU average was 14.7%. The United States, 19.4%. Canada is dead last in the OECD. But okay, was it always the case? Well, in 2015, Canada was sitting mid-pack, above the OECD average. Meanwhile, guess who has the highest share of foreign-born individuals? Sorry to say, it's also Canada. Canada sits at 23%. That's right, 23% of the population is foreign-born in Canada. And on top of that, the projections have Canada at over 34% of its population being foreign-born by 2041. Vance's point lands with a punch. You can't keep adding 1 million people a year and expect the pie to grow fast enough for everyone to get a bigger slice. But when you flood the country with these extreme numbers, without taking the time to build the houses, the infrastructure, the power grid, the schools, the hospitals, you name it, then the fabric of society collapses. Wages for working class people get crushed. Rents explode. Wait time at the doctors hit highs. And the average Canadian, whether he's born here or not, ends up poorer for it. I'm Canadian. I want this country to do good. Love means you call out something that's wrong even if it hurts. And right now, the policy of let's just turn the dial of immigration to 11 and hope productivity keeps up isn't working. And it's failing regular individuals. If multiculturalism was truly the civilization-building, utopic developing tool in the government's arsenal, then Canada, by all accounts, should be number one in the world on all metrics. Here's another fun fact. Back in 2013, we used to be 5th in the world in terms of quality of life. And now, after 10 years of these never-ending liberal policies, we've fallen down to the 27th rank in the world. Now, we're behind countries like the Czech Republic and Lithuania and Estonia. Great countries, but let's not fool ourselves. These countries 30 years ago were Soviet bloc countries. They were under the Soviet Union, communism, and they're doing better today than we are. Now, JD Vance didn't say close the border forever. He pointed at a chart and he said, your model isn't working. Now, if the numbers were reversed and Canada was crushing it and our GDP per capita was skyrocketing, we'd be telling JD Vance to screw it, suck it, get out of here. But that ain't the case. So perhaps, just perhaps, JD Vance is helping Canada wake up to a sad but real fact of life. We're not doing good. Now, obviously, the CBC wasted no time running cover for the Liberal government to try to justify this entire ordeal. So, in one of their articles, they tried to deflect and appeal to authority. The chart shows the changes in GDP per person in each country, though the standard of living is generally tracked using a wider range of data. They go on to say the UN's Human Development Index uses a number of metrics that quantify what it means to live a long and healthy life, be knowledgeable, and enjoy decent standard of living. Blah, blah, blah. To no one's surprise, they're just pushing the goalpost and trying to deflect from the reality. Nowhere do they dispute the metrics that JD Vance posted about. The AB's office said that the Liberal government is restoring control of the immigration system in a way that will bring it back to sustainable levels. Now, let's take a second to realize that they're the ones who created the mess in the entire first place. This is typical of governments. They create a problem and then swoop in as the saviors, trying to make you feel like they have your back. But ultimately, they're the ones who screwed it all up in the first place. Canada's not doomed. We've got resources, educated people, the rule of law-ish for the time being, and everything in the world that a country could want to be the richest ever. Fix the housing supply, fix the productivity, bring the best, because right now, the average young Canadian is on track to be poorer than their forefathers. So drop your thoughts below, respectful, but real. And I'll see you guys next time.